We live in a world that demands immediate results. If we order a package, we track its arrival by the minute. If we send a message, we expect an instant reply. And naturally, when we are wronged, we demand instant retribution. We want the scales balanced the very second they're tipped. But what happens when the oppressor walks away unscathed? What happens when you are slandered, when your rights are stolen, or when your heart is broken by betrayal and the world simply moves on? The deceiver gets the promotion, the tyrant builds a taller palace, the liar is celebrated by the masses. In the suffocating silence that follows, a dangerous whisper creeps into the exhausted mind. Is there no justice? Have they truly gotten away with it? When the worldly courts fail us, we must immediately turn our hearts to Al-Hakam and Al-Adl. Allah introduces Himself in the Holy Quran not just as a ruler, but as the very essence of perfect judgment and flawless fairness. He says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حُكْمًا لِقَوْمٍ يُوقِنُونَ. And who is better than Allah in judgment for a people who are certain? But what does it mean when Al-Hakam is the judge? It means he is truly impartial, and his verdict settles all disputes. He sees the entirety of the truth and is in no need of witnesses. His final decree cannot be overturned by any power. But for Al-Hakam to make complete sense, this judge must at the same time be just. And this is where Al-Adl comes in, the embodiment of fairness, the one who places everything in its exact, rightful and perfect place, entirely free from oppression, bias or error. Through these divine names, a deep reality emerges. The true test of a believer is not how we act after justice is served. The test is who we become while we are waiting for justice. When justice is delayed, society tends to break rules. It tells you to run a red light if it's late at night. And it tells you to give a bribe in an already corrupt society. But Al-Adl demands we do not let injustice of other people corrupt our scales. And Al-Hakam promises retribution for injustice. And to see the two sides of this coin, the societal expectation versus the upholding of the names of Allah, one must turn once more to the day of Ashura. On one side was an army that did not care for rules or cultural norms of the time. A group claiming to be Muslims and reciters of the Quran, but filled with greed, hatred and cruelty. Whilst on the other side stood a small group of men, women and children who cared little for what society demanded. They remained tethered to Al-Adl and Al-Hakam. Water was cut off from them. Children were killed and tormented. Tents were set ablaze. Women were taken captive and oppressed. The noble members of the Prophet's family had their bodies mutilated, and young boys of 13 found themselves surrounded by thousands. Yet at every stage, they remained steadfastly tethered to Al-Adl and Al-Hakam. In fact, before the battle even began, Shimr La'natullah alayh approached the camps of the Imam and began shouting insolent, deeply offensive remarks. One of the Imam's loyal companions, Muslim ibn Awsaja alayhi salam, raised his bow and aimed an arrow directly at Shimr and asked the Imam for permission to shoot. He had a clear shot. He could have eliminated one of the most vicious commanders of the enemy right then and there. It would have been a massive strategic advantage. But Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam stopped him. He placed his hand on the bow and delivered an intense statement. لا ترمه فإني أكره أن أبدأهم بقتال. Do not shoot him, for I dislike to be the one to begin the fight. Think about that for a moment. The Imam alayhi salam knew Shimr La'natullah alayh was there for their blood. One may even say that the Imam knew that Shimr would be his killer. Yet the Imam alayhi salam refuses to initiate bloodshed. And this was not the first time where the Imam alayhi salam showed leniency to Shimr. Because years earlier, in the aftermath of Nahrawan, Shimr La'natullah alayh was of the captives who were bound, not tightly bound, yet he complained to Imam al-Hussain about the tightness of the rope around him. Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam approached his father Imam Ali to ask for permission to loosen his robe, solely out of mercy, and Imam Ali alayhi salam approved. This same man who was shown leniency at the hands of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam now forgets that Al-Adl is keeping score. He is oblivious to the fact that the reckoning with Al-Hakam waits. And now, 1,400 years later, we look at figures like Shimr la'natullah alayh and wonder how they could be so blind to the inevitable. Yet we are tested by similar trials. We must not forget that the absence of immediate consequence is not the absence of a judge. In our daily lives, we may not see the verdict of a corrupt business deal, or we may fail to see the harm in cheating on an exam because society has normalized such behavior. And just as the companions waited for the Imam's command in the face of injustice, we too must remain patient in the shadows of the ghaibah, holding fast to the same principles. This patience is necessary because by definition, the era of ghaibah is an era of delayed verdicts. The promised Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajah will soon bring the justice of Allah. He will, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam promised, fill the earth with justice and equity, just as it has been filled with injustice and corruption. We must anchor ourselves to Al-Hakam right now. To wait for the Imam means to practice his justice in the dark, when no one is watching. And when the modern world tells you that being fair will make you lose, it means standing firm on the truth, trusting with absolute certainty that Al-Hakam has recorded every single tear, every stolen right, every silent exhausted prayer. Ya Hakam, when the injustice of this world makes us feel powerless, and when the oppressors seem untouchable, allow us to remember that your court is eternal and your judgment is flawless. Ya Adl, help us embody your justice in our own lives, and help us act with the integrity through every push and shove from this corrupt world. Ya Hakam, Ya Adl, to your absolute justice, hasten the reappearance of the awaited one Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajah, and allow him to establish the justice promised by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi.